Did you miss me?
Oh, yeah.
Now, we all know who Ethan Klein is. Ethan Klein is an American YouTuber, comedian, and podcast host, best known for his work on the popular YouTube channel H3H3 Productions. Along with his wife, Hila Klein, Ethan has built a massive fan base for his humorous and often satirical takes on internet culture, online trends, and viral content. Over the years, he has become a prominent figure within the YouTube community and is often described as one of the YouTube OGs. Now currently, the H3H3 podcast currently sits at over 2.8 million subscribers. Now I know what you guys are thinking.
Paige, why are you giving us a brief ChatGPT bio on who Ethan Klein is? And why do we need to know how many followers he has?
Well, because it's important for you guys to know Ethan Klein's influence. I would go as far as to say, in terms of the commentary sphere, he is possibly one of the most influential commentators there is on this platform. And with a certain level of influence comes a certain level of responsibility, especially if you are people's employers. So to bring you up to speed with the latest Ethan Klein drama that has been taking place, Ethan Klein across social media has been accused of being worse than David Dobrik.
How on earth is Ethan Klein worse than David Dobrik?
Well, let's go down the list, shall we? Extremely influential, check. A large and dedicated fan base who follow your every move on social media, check. Being involved with less than reputable individuals, check. Putting your audience directly at risk. And a horrible situation where somebody allegedly, for legal purposes, got SA'd. However, I would argue that he isn't just like David Dobrik, he's probably a little bit worse, because there are a total of 3 to 4 allegations pertaining to somebody that Ethan Klein has directly in his circle and has on numerous occasions boosted on his social media profiles.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with. The nigga you be hanging with.
And if you're wondering to yourself, how is this even possible? Hey, you know the Goof Gang? You know Ethan Klein's Goof Gang? Not at all like Howard Stern's Whack Pack. Well, one of the Goof Gang members, a regular cameo, Jimmy Lee, has caught himself up in SA allegations that pertain to not only members of Ethan Klein's audience, but also a staff member. Allegedly. So join me today as I break it all down for you. This is an extensive look into the current law and situation between Ethan Klein and Jimmy Lee that eventually led to Jimmy Lee breaking into the H3H3 podcast studios to try and get a moment, a chance on air with Ethan Klein to clear his name, and he was quickly shunned.
Okay, hold on, let me, Jimmy might be here.
This is so scary.
Well, we've been avoiding him for a reason. If he wants to come in and talk about
If he wants to come in and get aired the out for being a piece of shit, he's welcome to step in.
So let's take a look at all of this and more in today's video. Girl, I have no idea what I'm calling this. Ethan Klein sucks, BTW. Dr. James Weiner, aka Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw, is a dentist by day but comedian by night. He proclaims that he hails from Jersey, however a lot of his history resides in Atlantic City.
I gotta say, his culture is really Atlantic City, and I don't consider that exactly South Jersey. He's like a Atlantic City person. It's a mix of really being on the edge and not necessarily being accepted by the whole world. Like, you know, Atlantic City is, a lot of people make fun of it, they rip it apart. It's really nice in some spots, but it's really rough in others. And that's, you know, that's his life, man.
Jimmy Lee is a seasoned musician and actually learned to play piano as a child and has even released some music.
Tell me a joke now, you crazy Jew. You're gonna make me laugh all night. I'm sick and tired of your videos. H3 ain't right. You ain't right, Ethan.
It's said that whilst Jimmy Lee was working as a dentist practitioner, he would hand out his CDs to his patients. He has a show on YouTube called Dangerously Funny, which is essentially him going around as a street comedian, where he will talk to various different unsuspecting members of the public and try and make them laugh by any means possible, even if it means that the member of the public is the butt of the joke. Now, it's important to know that on this Dangerously Funny show it is that he produces on YouTube, his comedy style has been scrutinized by many different people. His jokes are usually race-based, filled with misogyny, and honestly downright offensive, like not even remotely funny.
They got a famous quote. You know what a Jew said to a canoe? Said, "You tip." My brother from another mother. You've been in the sun a little bit more. You know, just a little bit. You know why I like the Southern girls? Why that? Because they don't yell, and they don't tell, and they don't smell. They fuck like hell. Oh my God! Oh yeah.
If you go over to Jimmy Lee's website, this is what he says in his About section. Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw, is a comedy TV personality with a reality TV show, Dangerously Funny. Jimmy Lee's comedy is an old school wise guy style in the element of Rickles and Dangerfield, combining one-liners, insults, and zingers with some Jersey attitude. He performs outrageous comedy with the public on the street all over the country in different locales that include Hollywood, Las Vegas, South Beach, New York City, Atlantic City, London, and more. Jimmy Lee creates pandemonium and mayhem and is uncanny and unpredictable. This unique style has branded well in comedy today. The show brings a high energy, no holds barred format, including security and models, the Bandito Girls, to create excitement, fun, and fan engagement. Jimmy Lee performs in dark sunglasses and a black leather jacket and Elvis-style hairdo, which is his trademark image. Jimmy Lee is most definitely not censored, not filtered, and not politically correct. Jimmy Lee has received rave reviews and comedy praise for his unique brand of street comedy. Press and media outlets include Hollywood Monthly, Hollywood Times, Las Vegas Sun, Voyage LA, NJ.com, Hip NJ, Atlantic City Press, Philly News, and more. Jimmy's persona, coupled with the over-the-top personality and unique comedy concept, has enabled him to build a strong social media following and a strong brand. Now, if you're wondering to yourself, how funny is Jimmy Lee? Well, let's take a look at one of his comedy sets, and you tell me how funny you think Jimmy Lee is.
I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago. The cool thing about Las Vegas, you don't bring a girl, they send one up to the room. It's really easy. In fact, I got picked up by a hooker in Las Vegas. I dropped my pants, she dropped the price. All right? I'm married to a Chinese lady. She's Asian. And I got to tell you, when I think about her, and I get a little hungry. I'm not going to lie to you. But she's Chinese, and I got to tell you, every Thursday she's on her knees, but we'll talk about that backstage. I saved a young girl from being attacked last night. I controlled myself. So I don't know if you were around for that. I don't like midgets either. I can't stand midgets because I don't want anybody sniffing around my fly unless they're serious. You know what I mean? I know you're having that same problem. I got 2 kids in private school. They won't even tell me where it's at. And I got 2 in the Philippines, son, because the truck stopped for about an hour. And I got 2 Jap Jews on running around the jungle going, Happy Hanukkah. That's a holiday, by the way. So you know why we need the Chinese people, hon? Do you know why? So the Jews have a place to eat Sunday night. You see what I mean? And do you know the difference between a black guy and a Jewish guy, sir? About $250,000. And do you know the difference between Jews and Italians? Do you know that, sir? 4 years of college. That's all. It's not that much. And Jews don't go to jail, sir, because they eat locks. But Jews buy generic rubbers because they're cheap fuckers. They got to be a little careful.
Okay, so now we have a feel for the guy that Jimmy is. Now, he was doing this social media shtick for a little while. This was up until 2016 when Jimmy Lee randomly got discovered by Ethan Klein. In January 2016, Ethan and Gila Klein on the H3 channel, not the podcast, the channel, H3 Productions, reacted to one of Jimmy Lee's videos. This was a viewer submission by somebody who was a patient at his dental practice. Now, Jimmy's comedy, again, is racist, homophobic, xenophobic, and just outright offensive. Not even jest by today's standards, I would say that this was downright offensive even in 2016. Ethan and Gila Klein reacted to the video One Fricked Up Dentist, which was supposed to be an unofficial TV pilot, I guess, that he wanted to do for some kind of dentist-related sketch show. And the jokes were honestly just bottom of the barrel. There is like a joke, a 6 and a 9 joke, and a pull-out joke with a female dental hygienist, as well as a lot of objectification of women in general. Like, if you were looking to watch a Jimmy Lee video for extremely seasoned and developed characters that were female, you're not getting it. You're not gonna get it here, sweetie. Now, this one video on the H3 Productions channel would garner over 3.5 million views. This was when Ethan and Gila Klein were in their heydays doing reaction videos, so getting views like that was not uncommon.
From a dude named Epitry. He says, "This is my actual dentist. I discovered this video when I decided to look up his alter ego named Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw, a name which is displayed at the top of his music albums that he gives out to his patients after each visit." So that's the basis of the story, and I just love the detail that the dentist is actually handing out his musical CDs to his patients. Here we go. We present to you One F***ed Up Dentist, a TV pilot. Jimmy Lee, the Jersey Outlaw.
Hey, I'm one f***ed up dentist.
Well, the thing that's f***ed up is that he's a real dentist. So when he's saying, "Hey, I'm one f***ed up dentist, hey, little shop of horror," he's actually a real dentist. Like, you're talking about yourself. It's not, you're not playing a character. He's himself. Oh, hell yes!
The fuck is that?
This has got to be some kind of front here.
We'll be with you shortly.
Shortly. Hold on. I'm hard as Jeopardy.
Oh, hell yeah!
I don't want a doctor. I want the broad.
You want the broad?
Sure.
Well, then we'll have a we'll use both hands. We'll do
Wait,
that?
isn't this a massage parlor?
It is a massage parlor, but it's a discount massage parlor, pal.
Sure.
Self-service.
You got. Thank you very much. You got
Where you going?
That's all right. Thank you.
I guess, Natalie, we're just gonna have to play with each other tonight.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's making it good.
Seeing stars in his eyes, Jimmy Lee thought that this might be his moment to make the big time, so developed a friendship with the members of H3H3, most notably Ethan Klein. Ethan and Gila Klein then went on to react to Jimmy Lee a second time in another video titled Epic Dad Pranks. This video racked up an additional 2.7 million views. Ethan Klein starts off by saying that the video it is that he did on Jimmy Lee, the One Fricked Up Dentist, was one of their best videos on the channel. It saw a lot of views at that time. And it's in this episode that they give him the moniker, the living meme. They state that they had been emailing back and forth with Jimmy Lee, and Jimmy Lee actually started sending them numerous different videos of his that he had created. I'm guessing hopefully so the H3 show would, you know, react to more of his content, thus boosting him on social media. Now, at one point in the video, Jimmy Lee makes a Jew joke, to which Ethan and Gila Klein kind of shrug off casually and say that they are offended and they are triggered, but obviously in a jovial and, I guess, flippant way. One might call it facetious. But this video, exactly in the same vein as the previous video, was inappropriate with overtly sexual jokes. They also, inside this video, start having a look at Jimmy's street comedy videos, and we already see Jimmy Lee touching on attractive women in this video.
This was one of our best videos we made on this channel because the video was so spicy and spooky. I mean, frankly, we could have done that on the main channel probably, but I mean, hey, a good meme is a good meme no matter where you put it.
Like fairy tales.
I love fairy tales.
Really? Why don't you puff on the magic dragon, baby?
Ouch. Can you imagine actually saying that to your patient?
Oh my God.
Hey, do you like magic? Yeah, I like magic, you know. Why don't you suck on my d***? Okay. I'm just here to get my teeth worked on, but sure, I'll suck your
Come on and tell Pinocchio I lied.
Hey, you want to play doctor?
Yeah, I did. Was this thing swollen? It'll only be a brick. I got some penicillin to cure you right up, baby.
Oh my, you know.
Come on and tell Pinocchio a lie. Oh my God. How do you think of this stuff, man?
The dad.
What's that dad mind? It's a beautiful dad mind. What's
You're Spanish?
Okay, dude, that touching is not appropriate for a stranger. It looks like her boyfriend is standing right there. Guy, okay, listen, no on that touching.
I gotta say no.
Here's a cookie. Who cares that you're Mexican? Do me a favor. Don't fucking get pushy with me. I just got you.
But it doesn't stop there, because Jimmy then goes forth and continues to make more racially insensitive jokes. And as a way to one-up Jimmy Lee, I guess, Ethan Klein decides to make a blackie joke. That's cute.
Hey, you blackie. Hey, blackie Jew boy. I'm gonna eat your tacos. Hey, here, you want me to sign your napkin for you? Tell your family you met Jimmy Law, the wiener schnitzel. You just got wienered by Jimmy Law.
And the three angels wearing white.
You just got wienered by Jimmy Law and the three angels. Give me your taco. Give me your taco, you blackie. Hey, Jew boy, give me your taco. You just got wienered. Wienered. You just got wienered.
Now, I'm not here to be the joke police and say, this is what you should find funny. This is what you should not find funny. I'm merely just sat here pointing out the hypocrisy of what is deemed to be funny by whose mouth who says it. Does that even make sense? What is deemed to be funny, depending on who said it. Jimmy makes Black, Hispanic, Chinese jokes. Ha ha ha, he. He's so funny, he's the living meme. Ethan Klein decides to say, you're blackie. Ha ha ha, he. He's so funny, he's an internet comedian. But Trisha Paytas says, my Jew lunch, and oh no, it's the end of the world. Oh my God, that's so insensitive. You are being so insensitive. That is so offensive.
Okay, this is the one I had a problem with.
Okay.
Now, Trisha, you know you can't. You says rating my Jew lunch. Do you not see what's the problem with that?
I couldn't fit ish in there.
But Jew is like a derogative.
No.
My Jew lunch.
I think it's the way you say it. I was rating like, oh, my Jew lunch.
I can tell you with 100% certainty, you cannot say that. It's offensive.
Moses said it was fine, and he is from Israel and had a bar mitzvah, so he is.
Well,
he says it's fine. Like, Moses doesn't care. I read it by him.
First of all, I have to say, I'm also a bar mitzvah, and he's not a native English speaker, although he speaks English fluently.
Right.
He doesn't understand. You can't say Jew lunch.
Can I just tell you, two Israeli celebrities have hit me up and said, hey, I'm a Jew from Israel. Swear.
That's different. No, that's not. You can say I'm a Jew from Israel, but you can't use Jew as an adjective. Like Jew lunch sounds fucked up.
So then we flash forward to March 2016, where they actually finally meet with Jimmy face to face in a video titled Epic Dad Pranks in Central Park. In this video, Ethan Klein, Hila Klein, as well as Jimmy Lee all meet for dinner in New York. And while speaking and hanging out in New York, Jimmy Lee decides to do some of his street comedy, some of his comedy on unsuspecting civilians. That includes servers and waiters for the table, inappropriate sexual jokes, and grabbing on women without their consent. All of which is kind of awkwardly filmed by Ethan Klein and Hila Klein. And I will say, I will call a spade a spade. It does look like Ethan and Hila are extremely uncomfortable throughout all of these encounters. And honestly, just the uncomfortable feeling of that episode should have put them in a position where they thought to themselves they are never going to be hanging out with Jimmy Lee again. But no, he was funny. He's a lol cow. Let's bring him back.
Señor. Sir. I went to London last year. I met the Queen. She said, no, not now, I'm on the throne. Now listen to me, the English people are crazy. They won't even eat the muffins. They're bad in London.
You gotta let the guy do
You meet
his job.
Bloody Mary?
You're not obligated to stay here.
You know Bloody Mary from London? She's a
This
drunk.
is just gonna get weirder for you. This is not gonna get better.
What's your name?
Antonio.
Tony?
Antonio.
Antony or Tony?
Tony.
Tony? Take your glasses up. You're making a spectacle of yourself. Thanks, Tony.
Oh my God.
And nobody would know the difference. They're all Chinese.
I'm married, but my wife's ill, and I like you.
Okay.
And I want to make passionate love.
All right.
But tonight I want to be on the bar.
Okay.
And I want you to be up on top. So Ethan's going to come home with a bunk bed. So
Okay.
this way I'm going to be on the bottom and you're going to be up on top.
All right. I like piggybacks.
You like piggybacks?
I do. I really do.
Brian will jump in.
Okay.
Now the owner here, you don't want to lose your job. Maybe
No.
your virginity, but not your job. And where you from, Hong Kong?
No, for the contract to be signed.
Look at his face.
I'm good.
I'm good.
It's okay.
This is normal. I want to ask for the record.
Glad you did it right away, too.
Yeah, me too.
What was that?
That's what Ethan is. The beauty of me. That's the real deal, unscripted, uncensored, and that's what people want. Me on the streets. Billy, get off the streets. The Jersey Outlaws on the streets.
Okay, but what about that whole thing about like
The Asian girl?
that, like Asian jokes and like having sex with her that seemed like kind of inappropriate?
It was very appropriate.
It seemed like kind of like awkward.
No, Brian was really digging it. Brian just got, instead of an election, an erection. This is the stuff that's going to hit, is the street comedy and the fun stuff with the people.
I think what I just saw was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not just saying that to be ironic or funny. That was insane.
We're either going to end up in jail or famous.
So then they bring on Jimmy Lee on the 200th episode of the H3H3 podcast. Now, over 4 years since the previous time they had been in close proximity to Jimmy. They brought in Jimmy Lee for an interview at the podcast studios. And the only way I can explain how this interview went is that they were expecting to get lolcow moments from Jimmy Lee, but what they saw was an older guy who was extremely passionate about having only a short amount of time to live and living his life to the fullest. They wanted Jimmy Lee to be the butt of the joke and to be the lolcow, but actually on that episode, a lot of people found him extremely endearing. People before in the 2016s were extremely confused at Jimmy Lee's persona, but they saw that there was a distinct difference in this episode between the persona it is that he puts on for social media, the dangerously funny Jersey outlaw, in comparison to his more laid back and you only live once YOLO kind of mantra for living. And we also have to remember, this is 2020. We are in the height of COVID at this moment in time. So individuals who had extremely positive outlooks on life were just held up extremely high because we were all very depressed. But Jimmy Lee did have a lot of red flags in this episode. He made R-word jokes.
You heard about Nikki Pumpanese? You know Nikki Pumpanese, Hilla?
No.
Nikki Pumpanese, he had a rape charge. You didn't hear about Nikki Pumpanese? He had a rape charge.
I'm sorry. Okay, we're doing a rape joke, Jimmy?
No, he had a rape charge downgraded to tailgating. He had a good lawyer. Nikki Pumpanese. I thought you knew him.
Pumpanese. I guess I don't understand. Like a niece? Are we talking about incest
Oh,
rape?
yeah. Well, you do know Nikki Pumpanese. You do know.
Wow, that's...
He made jokes about spitting on his patients.
How are you guys dealing now with the COVID? What's the procedure to see people?
Well, what we do is we have them wait outside, and then when they want to come in, we have them wait outside, and then we move the dental chair outside, and we work on them, and we spit on them, so there's a chance they'll catch the COVID. And when they catch it, we say we don't have nothing to do with this stuff.
You spit on your patients, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, and by the way, I found out the disease is young and Asian, so now I'm interested in dating it.
Oh,
so there's a
good.
lot of stuff happening with this disease.
He makes a naked joke about one of his patients.
What's the craziest thing you've seen as a dentist? Because I'm sure a lot of wild shit pulls in there.
I'll tell you what happened to me the other week. I had a lady come in, take her clothes off, and she said, "Doc, I want to have these two pulled, this cavity filled." 2 weeks ago that happened.
God. And did you
yeah.
did you oblige?
No, but I had a lady grab me in the privates, and I was getting ready to number. She says, "We're not going to hurt each other, are we?" I said, "No, we're not." That was a very awkward situation, too.
Then makes a BJ joke about a patient.
You must have some wild mouths pull up into the dentist office. I mean, in your long, illustrious career, what have you seen inside someone's mouth that really stands out to you?
Well, I had a lady come in last week. Hilla, you'll appreciate this. And we cleaned her teeth.
Busy week last week.
We cleaned her teeth. And when we were done, I said, "You can go over to the sink, spit, and then you can get dressed and go." And she did.
That's disgusting. Jimmy, are you packing heat? What are we looking at downstairs?
What?
4 inches, and that's the width.
Wow. So you got something. Yeah, you got like a beer
Wait a
can.
minute. I graduated high school magna cum loudly. All right?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
And then randomly, almost like clockwork, Ethan Klein is asking if the dentist is quote unquote packing heat and wants to know the size of his appendage. Ethan Klein, what is your issue? Like, why are you so obsessed with other men's penises? If this had been a one-time occasion, like, forgive me if I'm wrong. If this had been a one-time occasion where Ethan Klein was just like, hey, you know, what's the size of your, you know, I would be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, maybe it's just a sperm. But it happens so frequently. Ethan Klein, like, asks his male guests so frequently about the size of their exploits and all. It's kind of bizarre. It's a little bit bizarre. Do you remember when Ethan Klein decided to speak to that, like, what is it, the Liver King? And he's like, hey, you know, how do you have sex with your wife? And he's like, don't you ever disrespect me like that again. he dragged him all the way down. I live for that moment. But anyway, back to the story.
Now, do you have to have in a certain position because you're so big, and sometimes fat guys have a problem. They have to go into a certain position because I mean you're massive, right? So and also I don't know how well endowed you are, but like, what's the situation with your what position do you have to go in a position? Or are you guys fully flexible? Because you're both very muscular.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Never talk about my wife in this context.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, after this, Jimmy Lee became a regular on the H3H3 podcast. He became an official member of the Goof Gang, which Ethan Klein admittedly states is very similar to Howard Stern's Whack Pack. Now, if you are British and unfamiliar with who Howard Stern is, or if you are American and young, let me explain who Howard Stern is. He is a very popular comedian in America who used to host one of the biggest radio shows in America at one point. He was known for being controversial, a little bit homophobic and misogynistic, things it is that he's walked back in his older age. And he used to have a thing with his show called The Whack Pack, where he would bring in various different members into his shows to be his lol cows. They would be people, for use of better terms, who had, you know, mental disabilities, people who had physical disabilities, or just things that can make them be othered and laughed at, like fat, black, jacked up teeth, you know the whole vibes. And members of the Whack Pack would be brought into the Howard Stern show for him to poke fun at and laugh at to his heart's content, and his audience loved that. Well, Ethan Klein has tried to recreate this with the Goof Gang. There are individuals like Gabe, as well as Jimmy Lee, and a plethora of other individuals who are a part of this lol cow shenanigans, where they bring these people on just to laugh at them, nothing more and nothing less. Okay, so now that we know who Jimmy Lee is and we have a gist of his character as well as his persona, how on earth did we get into the realm of essay allegations? Okay, so a couple of days ago on the H3H3 podcast, Jimmy Lee allegedly breaks into the H3H3 studio and attempts to get some airtime and to speak directly with Ethan Klein and his fans whilst the podcast was live. Okay, so at this point in time, Ethan Klein as well as his team are kind of on the outs with Jimmy Lee. For reasons at this point they have not discussed with their audience. I mean, even 28 days prior to this alleged break-in of the studio, people on the H3H3 podcast subreddit were asking why Ethan Klein seems to be very disinterested in Jimmy Lee recently. So it seems as if the fans were already kind of sensing a vibe that there was something going on with Jimmy, but nobody really knew what it was. Okay, so Jimmy Lee is breaking into the studio to try and get himself some airtime. They question whether they should let him in and decide we're gonna let him in.
Did he show up? Should we let him in?
Oh my God, he texted me the same thing.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Jimmy might be here.
This is so scary.
Well, we've been avoiding him for a reason. If he wants to come in and talk about
If he wants to come in and get aired the out for being a piece of shit, he's welcome to step in.
Yeah. I'm gonna go look. It's outside.
Okay, he did this. He goofed on us last time about it.
Make sure your wife's watching, Jimmy.
Oh
Wait,
God,
what is
Dan.
happening?
Apparently, I don't know. I don't see anything.
What do you mean? Check what text?
Oh, AB sent. Hey, AB, it's Jimmy. We're in town Love to see you guys. We're doing a big thing at Pink. Yo, it's me. We're at the studio. Let him in.
He's here?
Let him in.
Come on in, Jimmy.
Poppin'?
Ethan Klein, once he found out that Jimmy Lee was at the studio, said that he could be let in, but if he was let in, that he was going to be speaking to him about some allegations that had been brought forward against him that Ethan had been aware of.
So here's the thing.
Poppin'?
The thing is, I've been avoiding talking to him because I basically, like Dan said, he's going to get aired out. Like, out. And look, I know his wife gets upset when we talk about, and I'm avoiding it. I don't want that heat. She's scary. If he insists on coming here, showing up.
Uninvited. Just shows up at the front door.
Dude, he's here.
In the bathroom.
He got in our office?
Yes, I saw, we were going out to look out the window and he was literally, we passed him. He was in the bathroom, just like.
How did he get in? Who let him in?
Bruh.
Are you serious?
What is he doing here?
I just saw, I was looking out the window. I turn around and I see something just slither into the bathroom. The door's slightly open.
This is
I push the door open and he's standing and peeing. I literally saw him
Didn't lock the door? There's locks on the door.
Now he locked it after that. It was super creepy.
I don't like that.
That's crazy.
And I don't know how he got in our building.
What is going on?
Jimmy, come here.
Jimmy, go sit down, bro.
Oh my God.
How did he get in?
That's what I'd like to figure out. Somebody needs to get yelled at for letting a random psycho dentist in our... Jimmy, come here. What's wrong with you? Sit down, sit down.
Poppin'. Looking at you.
At that point, whilst Jimmy Lee is in the studio, but not yet at the mic, Ethan Klein essentially says, listen, if you come here, we're going to have to talk to you about some of the stuff that we're upset with you about. Jimmy Lee declined that invitation, yet still decided to come anyway, knowing that Ethan Klein was probably going to press him on some information live on air. Ethan Klein essentially tells Jimmy Lee, if you leave right now, we will not discuss it.
So let me give you, let me tell you something, first of all.
What's up?
All right, since you showed up here, if you want to stay on the show, what we have to talk is basically, I'm going to air you out.
For?
You know what for.
For Mason?
Yeah.
I already texted you that last week.
Somebody's lying.
Jimmy Lee then comes onto the show and basically says that he doesn't want to talk about the allegations, he just wants to have a good time, to which he ends up getting pressed by a lot of the H3 staff members. Dan starts cussing him out, telling him to make sure that his wife watches this. Like, Dan is visibly upset. Angry even, I would say. Probably more so than Ethan Klein is angry, considering that Ethan Klein is the boss, which is important as we will get into more of the story. So Ethan Klein brings up that there are allegations that have been brought up to him by a person by the name of Mason. Now, Mason used to work for Jimmy Lee as his meme editor. He would create memes surrounding Jimmy Lee and the Jersey Outlaw persona. Mason alleges during a shoot at one time, Jimmy Lee spanked his girlfriend's butt, which Mason and his girlfriend found extremely inappropriate. However, due to the power dynamic of this man being their boss and them being financially dependent on him, they didn't do anything about it until they had both stopped working for Jimmy.
I told you, I text you everything because I knew it was bothering you.
Of course it's bothering me. Did it happen?
No, he filmed for me and we have different content creators and he got mad when we let him go. In fact, we had a problem with him in a diner. In fact, one of the guys that's with me was there when it happened, Jerome.
Right, listen, I'm going to give you an option right now. Before I say what it is you're accused of, you can leave and I won't mention it.
I didn't come to start drama and trouble. I came because I'm here. I like you guys.
It doesn't matter what you came here for. Jimmy, you were not invited to come here. You stormed in. You know that we're mad at you. Are you that crazy? Or what do you think?
Well, Dan, I know all that, and I wanted to come down, and I know I'm FOMO'd out, and I wanted to come down. So I
understand you wanted to come down.
Let me finish. If you guys, I said to Olivia, I could tell when I came in, I kind of wasn't welcome. If you guys want.
You literally weren't.
Correct.
You literally were not
No, hold
welcome
it. Let me
here.
finish.
And take those glasses off. This is not Jimmy Lee
Yeah,
anymore.
we're talking. Let's talk to James Weiner for a second.
I can tell there's hostility, and from what I'm gathering here, I should probably go.
Well, hold on. You were peeing. Also, you were peeing. You didn't lock the door. Love walked in on you peeing.
No, I closed it.
You closed the door.
It was definitely open, brother.
Dan, I'll say this because I stormed the Bastille, and if you guys are that uncomfortable,
listen,
I'll go.
It's up
It's
to me.
okay. I'm not mad at you. I get down here. I get wound up. I don't think before I do stuff, and it is what it is. So I didn't come down here to like get drama with Mason and create problems. Mason don't work for us no more. I came down to see you guys say hi.
The Jomo show guys here. I mean, I like
the Jomo show guys.
Yeah.
The reason that the other guy don't work for me. He does all my content now. Jarrell.
I'd like to talk to Jarrell.
He's right here, and he'll
But
tell
hold
you
on,
the
hold
truth.
on. So
he'll tell you the truth about that other guy. He was there when we had to fight with him. I'm not lying to you. Jarrell will tell you.
I'll ask Jarrell, but here's what I'm gonna say. First of all, it's up to me, okay? And I'm telling you, you can stay, but I'm gonna have to be.
But I don't want to stay and drag dirty laundry and do. I came to see you guys have fun. We have a
That's so
big thing
silly.
at Pink's tomorrow, and
it's not an option.
Jimmy,
What?
you're an adult.
I'm an adult, but I didn't do. But Ethan, Hill, I didn't do nothing wrong. I let a content creator go that doesn't match what we do.
Do you think that if you come here unannounced, we're not going to bring up the stuff that we want to bring up? You think
I
we're just gonna
probably
say, "Hey, how are
would
you
say to
doing?"
that, no, you're going to bring up what you want to bring
Of course.
All right, so let's do it.
So we're going to bring it up.
Mason, who is a mutual of ours, he was your meme editor. We knew him because he was always posting crazy memes on your story.
So that's the reason we're trying to be more serious with content and get somewhere, and we don't want to do memes and be
so that's your
low-cal,
story.
and we have a whole different team. Hill.
That's
So
your story.
Yeah, that's the
He
deal.
reached out to us and said, I have something I need to tell you about Jimmy. That guy, I hate him. He's the worst.
That's because we stopped paying him.
Well, let me tell you what he told us.
Tell me what he said.
He told us that you were on a shoot with his girlfriend and you slapped her ass.
So they came to LA one day when we did a comedy shoot and we did an event at the Sky Bar, and they helped me film and edit a little bit, and I did not hit her or do anything. They
You
were
slapped
helping
her
me
ass?
film. No,
You
I
touch
don't.
your ass?
No.
Just make any sexual comments about her?
No, it's his girlfriend, and he's my filmer. They came for a half-day shoot, Ethan.
Mason wasn't there, so this is all according to his girlfriend. So his girlfriend's lying?
Let me explain. The girlfriend and him came to the Sky Bar. It was 1 hour for a posh event. Saturday, they came. We had a shoot, Hill. It was like 10 to 8 at night, and they came at like 12 or 1 in the afternoon and left at 5, okay? So how long were they with me? They were with me about an hour at the posh nightclub. It's a fashion show where I know some of the people. They're like B actors. And then they were with me on set. They came late and left early when I did my big shoot. I have 2 security guards. I have 4 cameras going. They were back-end people filming because they do social media. I don't really have time to flirt with a girl and touch them and do anything. I'm doing
How long does it take to pat someone's ass?
But that wasn't what I was doing. I'm not there for that.
So she's lying.
I didn't touch the girl.
So she's lying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Lee essentially denies all of these allegations and states that they never took place, and that Mason is angry because he had been fired from his position. Basically stating that these allegations were made with malicious intent in order to defame Jimmy Lee, as they were disgruntled ex-employees. Now, after Jimmy states that he feels like he should probably leave as it feels very hostile right now, because you gotta remember, we have Dam who's screaming at him, Love who seems to be extremely pissed off at him, and then we have Healer Klein kind of sliding in some jabs here and there. It was a very hostile environment and definitely not something that should have been done live and off the cuff. In fact, I would go as far to say this should not have been done live at all, as if this was any other normal workplace with any kind of workplace union, this would be extremely bad HR-wise. However, these were not the allegations that Dan and Love and Healer Klein were concerned about. No, the allegations they were concerned about was pertaining to one of Ethan Klein's own staff members. Now, a few months ago, the H3 podcast held a live show at the Greek Theatre in LA, and it is alleged that Jimmy Lee was getting handsy with a H3 staff member. But this is not a normal member of the crew. This isn't Olivia or Sam or one of those other people. This is somebody who specifically only works for Ethan whenever they do live shows. This person was a production assistant at the live show. The allegations were that he was extremely handsy with this staff member, as well as, in Dan's word, whispering sweet nothings into her ear. Now, this story was corroborated by Dan's fiance, Ali, and she corroborated this employee's allegations as she was there to witness them. Now, when confronted about this allegation, Jimmy Lee just says that he's old-timey and he's always loving on people, and states that the entire incident was completely misinterpreted. Probably because this incident has a witness account that isn't the victim directly. directly, the alleged victim directly. So I guess it's easier to say it's been misinterpreted rather than it never happened at all, which is the case with the Mason's girlfriend allegations, as I guess it's only Jimmy Lee's word versus the alleged victim.
Would you say it's absurd that you would ever do something like that? That you would feel up on a girl and be inappropriate?
Hug people and love them.
Uh-huh.
And I create a lot of FOMO and have entourages that
So
travel
there's
with me.
another scenario in the recent live show that we had in the back room.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is what I was about to bring up.
Wait, did I know about this?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
One
you guys
of
are
our
talking
production
about.
assistant was hanging in the back room, and you kept like saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and like
Whispering
your
stuff,
hands on
putting your
her.
arms around her, touching
God,
her.
I didn't know about that.
Me?
Yes, you.
Who was the girl?
I'm not going to say who it is out loud.
I don't even
because
remember.
I don't want to identify
I know her. She's She's very trustworthy.
She's very trustworthy, and you know who was
I didn't
there
know he
and
did
witnessed
that.
it is
Yeah,
my girlfriend who
Ali
watched
was
it.
there, so we have.
Oh,
So
she was
Dan, you know
there.
my
Yeah.
problem
She was
is
there too.
I love people and I'm friendly and I hug guys and girls when
But
I
asked
do
you in the beginning, are you a kid or are you a
touring
grown-up?
stuff and
Am I
I'm not
talking
hitting.
to a 5-year-old or a grown-up? I'm talking to a married man, right?
You're talking to
Yeah,
Jimmy.
and I'm
He's
married
You think
and
that's an
loyal to my
appropriate way?
wife.
You think your wife would be happy to hear that?
Facts. This is
Oh
a
my
jury.
God, you guys.
I shouldn't have come on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Why
for
did
your
you
own
show
sake.
up?
Well, hold on, Jimmy.
Exactly.
Well, hold on,
I
hold on.
shouldn't have come on.
Yeah.
I made a mistake, Dan. You were right. I'm gonna apologize to you guys.
Do you want
You
to
should
hold on?
talk to
Let's
them
clear it
out
up.
if
Let's
you want
clear it up.
people to hear.
What did Ali tell you, Dan? Because this is kind of I didn't internalize this. No, I know you didn't come for this.
I didn't
But
come
you
for
can
this.
come
Poor
for a
you.
fluff piece.
Well, hold on.
I'm
Hold
sure
on.
the women
Hold on,
didn't come
Jimmy,
for that
Jimmy,
either,
you're here.
right?
You're
Exactly.
here. You're here. Jimmy, here, sit. Dan, what did Ali say? What
Said
happened?
exactly what Hila just said, is that in the back room, you were hanging out. This person who is a key part of the production, the live production, and who is very trustworthy.
We all know and trust.
Yes, that you were whispering sweet nothings to her, telling her she was the most beautiful girl you'd ever seen. Unbelievable. I can't believe how hot and how good it is to see her again. Because you had seen her at the previous one because she
speak
does
like
all
that
the
to
live
women
shows.
sometimes? Okay,
That
well,
is
if you're gonna
beyond
talk, talk into the
friendly,
mic, they can't hear
buddy.
you.
That's not friendly.
Hold on. Do you talk?
Guys, I'll leave you on this note. I'm
Do
going
you
to go.
usually say that to women?
I am overtly friendly to people. I hug guys
You
and
say
I don't
you call dudes sexy when you
hit
see them?
on girls. I'm married.
You're a liar. You're lying.
Okay.
You're straight up lying, dude. You are a liar.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. This is why I didn't want. I was
I was
protecting
right.
you.
Yeah, I was right.
I didn't want you to come for this reason, and I warned you. I said, listen, you can leave.
Good luck with your wife.
Hold on, can I talk to Jor-El? No, I want to talk to Jor-El. Where is he? It's okay. Jor-El's with us now. Jimmy doesn't want Jor-El on the show. No, this is Jimmy's saying Jor-El. So Jor-El wants to sit, but Jimmy's begging him, don't come on. He's asking Jor-El to give him his keys. Jimmy is he's really cooking right now. He's running. Jimmy's actually walking with speed out. Sorry, Jimmy. I tried. He's really, wow.
You know,
He just screamed, Jor-El, let's go.
What's up, Jor-El?
Jimmy really doesn't want you here.
Now, during the middle of this, I guess, backwards ambush, because I guess he ambushed himself, Jimmy Lee decided to just leave the podcast studio. And as he left one of his assistants, whose name is Jor-El. Now, Jor-El is a huge fan of the H3H3 podcast and makes that known. And after speaking to this assistant for an extended period of time, Ethan Klein states that he is going to hire the assistant as well. Now, why is this important? Well, because Ethan Klein has this situation where he seems to always hire his fans. Like, it's kind of wild to me that as an employer that you would literally hire somebody to be one of your staff members without speaking to your team, letting your team even have the opportunity to have a feel of this person and see if they actually, are a good fit for the team, without an interview, references, background checks, etc. Especially seems one of the allegations of SA is against one of your own staff members and you're just hiring people on the spot. But this is not the first time that somebody has been quote unquote hired on the spot. Mason, who is the other person who has allegations with his girlfriend getting spanked on the booty, he is a fan of the H3H3 podcast. And what compelled him to come forward to tell his girlfriend's story was the fact that he is such a fan and hated seeing Jimmy, somebody who did something disgusting in his eyes, get so much attention, praise, etc. from the crew as well as the audience at large, knowing what he had done to his girlfriend allegedly. That's not the only person person, Olivia. We all know Olivia as one of the main girlies on the H3H3 podcast. She used to be a fan. She used to hang out and be around the same circles as H3, purposely to get her job. It's kind of like her story. She was tenacious. She just wanted to get the job with H3, and she got it by what many could say is stalking the H3H3 team. There's Love, who also used to be a fan of the H3H3 podcast, and through running various different Reddits and dealing with various different communities on behalf of the H3 podcast, he ended up getting a permanent slot as one of the members of the H3H3 crew. Hey guys, it's Editing Paige here. I had one of my researchers make a detailed list of all of the staff members from the H3H3 podcast who actually were fans before they became staff members. Obviously, we just spoke about Love and Olivia, so I'll be leaving the first two out, but then we have Zach. Apparently he was a fan. We have Ian. Apparently they were a fan. We also have Sam, who was a fan and had a crush on Ian and reverse engineered the Bachelor segment for Ian behind the crew's back, and then was eventually also hired. Sam is the girl who recently left to work for QT Cinderella. Then we have Cam, who is no longer employed, but they used to be a fan and would create really good memes on social media and on the subreddit, so they hired him to be on the staff. However, he left the show to be closer to home and is working for his girlfriend, who is the corn star content creator Morgpie, who we'll see a little bit later. I know they're intertwined in this as well. We have AB, who was a super fan of the H3H3 podcast and would defend Ethan like at all costs. Then we have Nate, who is a new hire. They were also a fan. He's a camera guy, so you don't really see too much of Nate, but if you think about the whole entire crew of the H3H3 podcast over the years, that is a substantial amount of employment that is just strictly off working with fans. And I'm not here to say that you can't work with your fans. In fact, the researcher who has put this together used to be a fan of mine also. But a little bit later in today's video, we're going to hear the word stalker thrown around, and I just don't feel like that's a fair assessment, considering so many of Ethan Klein's new hires to the podcast have been former fans. That's all I have to say on that. Let's get back to the video. So as we can see, there is a patented history of Ethan Klein just hiring fans. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Jake Doolittle, somebody that Ethan Klein has had arguments with online, is another individual who tried their best to be a part of the H3H3 gang. It's kind of known that if you lick Ethan Klein's ass enough, you might be able to get yourself a job on H3H3 podcast. Now, I'm not bringing up Ethan Klein's weird hiring of fans just to be a dick. This is because there's also another incident that pertains to Jimmy Lee, a fan that the H3H3 crew call a stalker. Now, allegedly, this stalker broke the heart of Gabe, one of the members of the Goof Gang. She went on a date with Gabe and was seen pictured with Gabe and allegedly broke his heart. After Gabe found out that she was just trying to get close to the H3 crew and team and had no real romantic interest in Gabe. Now, rumor has it that Ethan Klein had pretty much made it known to everybody that this is a stalker and not somebody that we want around the crew. Well, Jimmy Lee hopped onto the internet and asked this young lady out for dinner, and the pair of them hung out in LA. Now, there are also rumblings of allegations to do with inappropriate touching. Apparently, somebody touched somebody's leg. But it seems as if Ethan Klein seems to be mostly upset by that encounter because Jimmy was forewarned not to hang out with this person who could be a danger to the crew.
And by a girl who wanted to come hang out with me. I'm all about having entourage around me. You know, that's just how I feel. I like having a group of people. And she came up, and there were a couple friends that came with her, and we hung out a little bit Saturday and a little bit on Sunday, and that was totally it. And
you sound like James Charles. Sounds very similar to
I'm
James
nothing.
Charles.
No, I'm a fun guy that likes to hang out with a lot of people and have fun.
Aren't you a married guy?
Ever.
Aren't you married?
Hold on. Yeah.
I'm married, but Howie.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
the girl.
Hold on.
Oh.
Jimmy, hold on.
Yeah.
How old is this girl?
She's in her 20s. She's my son's age.
She's like 21 or
25 or 23. But here's the point. Nothing
Did you
happened.
go on a one-on-one dinner with her, Jimmy?
I can't hear you.
Did you have a one-on-one dinner with
No,
her?
I had dinner with her and my
Oh, put on your headset.
social media people.
Put on your headset.
He doesn't want to mess up his hair.
Yeah. Oh.
I had dinner with Danny, Mitch, and me and her on Sunday night.
I see how it makes
And
it looks bad, and it's putting H3 and Ethan in a predicament because it's one of their fans, and then you take them
yeah, but
out.
then hold on, Jacqueline. Then I find out from
That's just one part of it.
wait a minute. Then I
Jackie,
find out
because
from Ethan that they don't like her and they make her feel
her. I don't know
uncomfortable. And then I said, well, I'm sorry I even met her, and I apologize, and I wish I never met her. And they were all mad at me when
well,
honestly
Jimmy,
nothing
Jimmy's
was
not being
done.
hold on, Jimmy. You're not being totally forthcoming because so this girl, I don't know her. None of us know her. We just know her because she somehow always gravitates to people that are close to us, close to the show, people that we care about. First, it was Gabe, and this poor, she was really. Gabe was interested in her, and he talked about her all the time, and she was just like constantly, I don't know, toying with him, leading him on or something, but then always trying to show up to our events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in all of our DMs, and she's reaching out to everybody, trying to get close to us. So it's uncomfortable behavior. And we told you that, Jimmy. We told you that before this new round of photos. We told you.
So Zach mentioned to me last time I was in that she's a clout chaser. He told me that. Absolutely. You're right.
What did he tell you, Jimmy?
Told me last time I was in town. When was I here last? What is
So
this?
what did he...
He said
what
she
did he
was a
say?
clout chaser and came to his show. And she don't bother with her. He did tell me that.
I think he probably said more than that.
Well, he did tell me. I'm not going to deny it.
And did you tell him last time that you were gonna?
No, she found out I was coming and she was DMing me. And I said, if you want to come hang out, come hang out. I said, find a place to stay. You're not staying at my place. And she found some friends to stay with, and she hung out with us a little on the weekend. And with my whole group of people. It was all of us. It was a whole group of people.
Jimmy posted a ton of photos of them together on Instagram, just the two of them, and was tagging her and stuff. I've never talked about this girl. I don't know her.
I
don't
tagged
care
some
about
pictures.
her.
We went
It
from
sounds pretty sketchy, for your wife, honestly. I mean, I don't think...
Jacqueline, the last
No.
thing on my mind at my age with the wife I have and my business career, I like fans and FOMO and fun. That isn't me at all. It never has
Well,
been.
FOMO can, you know what, Jimmy? FOMO can also mean
Well, I'm learning the
fear of
hard
missing
way.
out on intimate connections.
I'm learning the hard way. In fact, you can bring Dan in right now and ask Dan because
Doesn't
it
even
never was
matter.
me.
It was more just like the stalkerish behavior. It wasn't about the young girl.
Well, we did find out how she is once you DM me, and I said to you, I took that one image down, and I said I'm not even going to have nothing to do with the girl.
By the way,
you
Jimmy,
guys got
still
so
have
upset at me.
images up with her. Jimmy, you took one image down. I did not ask you to do that for the
No, I
rest
did
of
it out of I did it out of respect for you. You didn't
So
ask
hold
me.
on, let me go-
I did it.
I know. Let me go to your Instagram because there's. Okay. Let's see here.
There may be one up with I have Demi Lovato in one, and I have one with Carrot Top. But the one that
So you have two photos of her from this
yeah,
weekend
but
still
right,
up.
because one's with Carrot Top and one's with Demi Lovato. But
Put it up here so we can
but
see
the
what they're
other
talking
ones
about.
I took down. I kept the other ones
What
that
do you
had
guys-
celebrities
what do you
in.
guys make of that?
Wait. We don't have it up yet. We're gonna.
I understand his point. If it's with other celebrities, he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's the
want
only
to
reason I
take
kept them
down-
up is 'cause
he doesn't
there's
want
other
to take other
celebrities up.
celebrities, but you can also take it down and edit her out
Where is
and
it?
repost with the other celebrities or put something over her face so it's very apparent that you don't want images
Jimmy,
of you with her.
Jimmy, if you run into a celebrity and you want to take a photo, just take it the two of you. Why?
And
bring
what do
on
you
this-
think happened,
this
Ethan?
random
What do you,
fan?
Ethan?
Why is it?
What do you
Yeah,
think
let me ask
happened?
you
She
this,
ran
Jimmy.
into the
Let me
picture.
ask you this.
She ran into
How
the
you gonna
picture.
pull
Tell
up
him,
these
Dan.
photos?
Hold
Pull
on,
up these
Ethan.
photos.
Dan, tell
I'm
him what
trying to.
happened when we took the picture. Listen, Ethan. She jumped
Ethan,
into pictures.
Jimmy's not over there reaching out saying, "Hey, come take a picture."
And then there is now a fourth allegation that came forward from a fan, allegedly. And this is what their post stated on Reddit. Jimmy grabbed me, Hi everyone, I'm just posting because I had an experience where Jimmy was grabbing my waist and touching me inappropriately the day of the live show at the Greek. I have proof I was there. My boyfriend was there too, and he was unsettled and made a comment to Jimmy about it. Jarrell and the Cosmo were also both there. Remember, Jarrell is the member of Jimmy's team who got hired on the spot after he stayed when Jimmy left the studio. There was also another girl Jimmy was even more handsy and touchy with, and he was begging / demanding that she meet him at his hotel that night to hang out. No hate to Jarrell, I think he is in an uncomfortable spot to be speaking about Jimmy and all of this stuff, but it's definitely a pattern of behavior, and the guys were all right there and filming with him whilst he was being inappropriate with this girl, and while he had grabbed my waist and held my hips close to him. And I know for a fact that they were filming while this happened. I have footage of being there with them, but the clips where I was grabbed are not included in the Jomo show. Jomo show is Jimmy's show that he has on his own channel. I think they have probably seen Jimmy do this a bunch of times, especially how comfortable he was doing it in front of them and the camera. Now obviously this is an anonymous account, so take this with a pinch of salt. In fact, take all of the allegations at this very moment in time with a pinch of salt, because until anything formal or legal takes place, these are just allegations at this moment in time. Not saying I don't believe nobody, but I think that it's only fair, because I get the idea that Jimmy Lee is just a socially inept individual with extreme boundary issues who keeps just pushing people in places that they don't want to be. Now this is in turn a dangerous character trait to have, especially around your staff members, and quite frankly I found the whole thing extremely bizarre that Ethan Klein chose not to internalize what had taken place to one of his staff members, whilst the rest of his staff members were absolutely going out of their mind, dragging Jimmy, as they should, due to the allegations that were brought against him by credible people within the team. Now, I did think to myself, well, maybe Ethan is just trying not to give any kind of reaction because, you know, this is HR sensitive. But then my other thought was, why did you even have Jimmy in the studio, and why did you choose to make allegations, essay allegations, and allegations of this nature content? And if you did need to speak about Jimmy and the allegations that were levied against him for the safety of your fans, then why didn't you do it in a segment on the show just straight up addressing it, instead of having Jimmy feel like he has the liberty and the freedom to come onto the H3 podcast despite the allegations of this nature, for you to roast him as content with the flagrant disregard for one of your staff members whose trauma this actually is? Like, honestly, some of the stuff that Ethan Klein does is just a nightmare, a HR nightmare. Like, a lawsuit is pending. What do you mean you told 30,000 to 500,000 individuals about your staff members' sexual assault allegations that happened on your watch? Now, on the day of this Greek theatre performance, there are numerous different videos that have been found of Jimmy being highly inappropriate with other females in his vicinity, like this video.
It's a fantastic. Man never learns. I'm hanging out with the queen of podcasts. Where's my?
Oh, and if that wasn't enough, what about this video?
Morgan, get in here for a BTS. Come here. This is Morgan. This is Cam's fiance.
Yes, actually we're married.
And married, but
We've been married
that's
for
us.
10 years.
That's us. Not her and Cam, me and her.
Me.
But we're Jersey Outlaws here. Morgan's here.
I'm so here right now.
And I think I'm here.
And now I'm gonna go get a gin and tonic. Bye.
Would you get a gin and tonic? Morgan, you just said to me, you're
4, right?
Morgan.
Jimmy.
My wife and I have sex now most
Jesus.
Now, after this live show situation that took place between the H3 podcast crew and Jimmy Lee, Mason, the person who made the allegations in regards to his girlfriend getting spanked on the booty, decided to come over to Twitter to give his closing statements on everything that took place and to hopefully put some of the rumors surrounding his motivation to make these allegations to rest. This is what Mason had to say.
Hello, this is Mason. I was just able to watch the podcast today with them talking obviously about Jimmy and then talking to Jarrell about all the shit that went down. And I think I just had a few points to add to it. The first thing I would like to say is that I feel like he tried to make it seem like the only reason I'm exposing him is because he cut me off and that I'm butthurt or I'm mad that he would try to stop working with me, and so that's the reason why I'm exposing him, which is not the truth at all. I know Jarrell said I make a bag or whatever, I make a bunch of money, which is not true. The max I ever made was max $2,000 a month, and I have PayPal. I'll screenshot my PayPal. That's where he paid me. Never over $2,000 a month. So that equals to about less than minimum wage, especially with us working over 100 hours a week. I mean, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we are working for Jimmy. I am calling Jimmy, editing all night for Jimmy. That's all we would do during this time. And the reason why we were okay with it, because I was a manager at a restaurant, and I had an extreme panic attack, and I developed panic attack disorder, so it was really hard for me to go work in person. So we were about to be homeless, and at the time, Jimmy popped up on H3, so we reached out to him. And initially, I just wanted, hey, maybe I can edit for this guy, or, you know, I can make memes for him or something like that. I'll screenshot my PayPal. I really do not care. We were making max $2,000 a month. Like I said, less than minimum wage in California. I could go work anywhere else if I wanted to make a bag and get a lot more than that. Second of all, like I was saying earlier, it wasn't me being mad. The issue was, at the time, I was stuck. So this shit happened with my girlfriend, where he slapped her ass. And he was my only form of paying my rent, my car bills, insurance, food, groceries, everything, you know. So in me and my girlfriend's mind, so this was a traumatic experience, obviously, for us. Are we going to talk about it and then we lose our income and we're homeless? Or are we just going to stick through it and push through it? And that's what we chose to do, obviously, because I would rather know that nobody knows about this, but at least we're not homeless, because that would be 100 times worse. I bet you 100 times more traumatic experiences would happen if we're just homeless, right? So it got to a point where Jimmy was already not paying us. And I mean, even 4 months leading up to that point, he was extremely late on payments. He would make us stay up to 6 a.m. every day. We'd work fucking all night on shit, and he'd be like, I should have never even paid you for this shit. And he would make us do crazy fucking things and be extremely emotionally manipulative to us. But we pushed through it because it was better than going to work at a store when I was having panic attacks, and at least I can be in my bed. So if I'm having a panic attack, I can just take my medication and sleep. So that was the only reason why I did it. But I don't like that it's being portrayed as like, oh, I'm mad, so I'm gonna expose him. No, bro, some shit fucking happened. You were my only source of income, the only way I could not be homeless, and now you're trying to make it seem like I was just mad. That wasn't the truth at all. Jimmy never actually fired us. He was asking us to make him videos and content until the very day that I ever sent a video to Olivia, which obviously Ethan's gonna ask Jimmy about. And that's when I think Jimmy realized, hey, I'm no longer in communication with this guy. So up until that point, he was asking us way after. I know Jarrell said that maybe we got fired 5 times. That never happened. We were never officially fired, and if I never told Olivia anything, he would still be asking me to make him shit to this day. At that time, we already had other jobs. At the end of it, I finally pushed through it, and I said, enough is enough. I got a different job. So now I'm a shift manager at a restaurant, just working a regular job. My girlfriend, she edits now for this other YouTuber. She makes more than she made with Jimmy. So I said, hey, why am I holding these feelings in anymore? Why am I keeping this from, you know, why am I keeping this from everyone? Jimmy's a terrible person. I've been knowing this for like a year and a half now. And I'm just like, I'm just going to let it out. I'm going to text Olivia because it hurts to see him on the podcast all the time when I know what he's done. I don't know. This whole situation is, I told Olivia about this, I think over a month ago now, and I've honestly completely forgot about it. Like, life has just been fucking weird. I honestly haven't even watched H3 in over a month, and it's not because I don't like them anymore. It's just because I'm just fucking working and, you know, stress and other shit going on in my personal life. So I honestly forgot about it. So today, Olivia sent me a text saying, hey, by the way, we're going to be talking about this today. It would make it a lot easier if she would just be able to come out and talk about this herself. But is it worth it for her? And, you know, it's just too much. It's like TMI for everybody else around her. So she basically told me, hey, I want them to know about this stuff. I just don't want my name mentioned. And I don't want you guys thinking that's just because, like, oh, she's lying about it, so she just want her name mentioned. No, some people just don't want to be a part of all this shit, even though something traumatic happened to her. And so part of me wishes I never said anything. Another part of me wishes that, you know, I'm glad I said something about it because Jimmy's a terrible person, but also it's like our lives are so fucked right now that I don't know if this is what we need. But I just wanted to at least come out and say this, and maybe clarify a few things because it does make me upset when I watch this stuff, and it's like, you know, it makes it seem like, oh, I'm just mad because I don't work for him anymore. No, it's not that.
Okay, so after that absolute complete and utter shit show, what are my final thoughts? Now, whilst doing our research for this video, we came across a Reddit post that really made me think retrospectively about the David Dobrik situation. And this Reddit post was called, "Ethan is no different to David Dobrik." It states, "The title says it all. I'm in shock how no one is talking about how Ethan has a responsibility to protect his fans. First of all, it's common knowledge that Mason and others like him are working for Jimmy with the sole reason that they are H3 fans and want to be noticed by Ethan. For that reason, they're willing to subject themselves to being paid less than minimum wage, an unfair boss, and inconsistent working conditions at best. Ethan should have spoken to Jimmy immediately to shut down or cut Jimmy off from the show to ensure that it didn't progress further. And this obviously didn't happen. Ethan continuing to endorse Jimmy promotes him as a safe person to be around for the H3 audience. They wouldn't assume that somebody from the show that Ethan is friends with would ever put them in a dangerous position. And this is why people were put into these horrible situations. The one that stands out is the one of Ethan's own employees who faced the potential dismissal for not complying with Jimmy's harassment. The final point where Ethan should have known to draw the line was having heard about at least one, although we know there were multiple, instances of SH. He should have cut Jimmy off completely and publicly denounced him. In not doing so, he continued to endanger his fans. I understand that he didn't want to do that before being certain, but Healer knew, based on direct observation by Ali. So it's effed up that Ethan either didn't know or more likely didn't care because he's content brained. I'm definitely not accusing Ethan of being an indirect cause of the numerous acts of assault and harassment, but I'm appalled at the dangerous situations he unthinkably creates by caring more about good content than his employees and fans. How is this in any way different than David Dobrik and the Excavator? I don't say this as someone who just wants to hate/snark, but out of genuinely hoping to improve conditions for employees and fans. Ethan really needs to listen to some constructive criticism here and not just think I'm being attacked. You have a responsibility for the people who work for you, and you're putting them in harm's way again and again, and they are forced to put up with it for the sake of employment. Oh, and justice for Lena, since you seem to think her being sexually harassed on live air was no big deal. And honestly, I genuinely couldn't have said it better than that myself. At this very moment in time, when we think about the David Dobrik allegations, yes, as they are pertaining to our word, it is, of course, a more complex situation, but we are speaking of two things that are sexual in nature, whether that's SA, SH, or R word. Both David Dobrik and Ethan Klein put not only members of their staff or crew or friends in direct harm's way, but also their fans. And I found this even more interesting knowing that around the time that David Dobrik was having his ass handed to him on social media, one of the founding fathers of flagging that ass was Ethan Klein. With every new David Dobrik update that came, Ethan Klein was straight on it with another podcast, saying how disgusting it was that he didn't care for Jeff Wittick's safety, how he put staff members like Seb directly in harm's way by allowing them to be SA'd, and in turn not making a big deal out of it, or in Ethan's words, not internalizing it.
I didn't internalize this.
By allowing these situations to play out for all of us to see, and allowing Jimmy to come back time and time and time again for content. Prior to to all of the shenanigans that took place a few days ago on the H3 podcast, there was a poll that was put up by Ethan Klein and his staff members asking whether they should bring back Jimmy Lee, to which the audience had said, "We are done with his trash ass jokes. No, we do not want him back." And Ethan Klein still brought him back. And it's because in Jimmy Lee's desperation for fame, for notoriety, to be known, to become a celebrity, he was the most easily accessible lolcow that Ethan Klein could use in order to throw a few jabs at. Now, do I think that Jimmy Lee is a predator? I'm not entirely sure. But what I do think is that he is extremely socially inept, and that can be extremely dangerous. Especially if you are an individual like Jimmy who has very big boundary issues and doesn't know when to stop. Now, I get that Ethan Klein is a public figure and there are so many people who are waiting to cancel him. So it's no surprise to me that Ethan Klein took the stance of wanting more concrete evidence before he distanced himself from Jimmy. However, when it came down to his live show performance and his production assistant that was corroborated by the fiance of one of his closest and dearest team members, Dan, that should have been the moment that he called an immediate halt to everything. And simply just not internalizing it doesn't really help anybody.
I didn't internalize this.
I genuinely believe that, like, with all of the various different things it is that we as viewers have seen on the H3 podcast, it really isn't going to be that long before somebody makes some huge allegations against the podcast themselves. From Ethan Klein's inappropriate jokes and sex-related jokes to guests as well as his co-hosts, as well as even, if you remember, the whole Seaman situation. And if you aren't aware of that, I will leave the video somewhere at the top of the screen. I made a video about it. But with the Seaman situation, Ethan Klein was pushing a ex-worker with an S at the beginning to share photographs of his phallic object to a point that made that person actually uncomfortable. We've even seen Ethan Klein push somebody on their sexuality to a point that made them uncomfortable. Ethan Klein was the edgelord commentator who had to go PC and change with the times. I think to some degree Ethan Klein lives vicariously through somebody like Jimmy, who continues to push the boundaries no matter who says anything about it. Because for the most part, both Jimmy and Ethan Klein have boundary issues.
And I'll tell you what, a dude who works as a dentist full-time, he's got a career. He's out there following his dreams, living his passion. You say what you want about the man, he has found time in his life besides owning a whole dental practice to go out there and live his dreams. God bless you, James Weiner.
But like I said, I think after the years and years of the H3 podcast, it's really not going to be that long before we see some kind of lawsuit pertaining to the workplace environment and the environment it is that Ethan Klein fosters there. Whilst I understand it's entertainment and the entertainment industry can be extremely lenient, there are still certain rules. And so much of what is going on isn't going on behind closed doors. I mean, this isn't a Diddy party where everybody's phones were confiscated. This is being played out for us and archived for years and years to come on the internet. And I genuinely believe that Ethan Klein should at least get himself an independent union for his team to go to, so that they have somebody else besides him to bring their grievances to, including grievances about him, so that he can foster a more healthy work environment for everybody, including guests, co-hosts, etc. And I say this not because I'm Ethan Klein's biggest hater. I say that jovially. I don't hate him at all. I say it as an ex-fan who is literally watching a car crash take place and the person doesn't even have their hands on the wheel. So, Ethan Klein, in your words, I was trying to protect you.
I was protecting you.
Anyway, anyway, that is about it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. It was really nice to come back and just get back into the vibe of things. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys haven't seen any of my other Ethan Klein content, I will leave them in the top tab over here so you guys can see, because me and Ethan Klein, we go back. He don't know me, but we go back, girl. Also, I'd like to say a massive thank you to my researchers, as well as every single last one of you beautiful, amazing people who watch me. Make sure that you follow me on Twitch. I will be streaming back there 2 nights a week as per usual. I'm getting back on the saddle, girl. And until next time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches, you guys are gonna have so many videos come your way. We have so many sponsors in October, and we need to get through them, girl. We need to get through them. Christmas is coming up soon. My kids need some toys. Okay, my daughter wants a Nintendo Switch. She's 5. FML. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day or evening, whatever the hell it is you are doing. And until next time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches. It's been Paige. Bye.